So the next common problem that we worked on was digging, and digging typically takes place when we lift our body off of the catch to either set the blade in the water or to start our drive. And so the drill sequence that we went through for that was, again, catch placement to establish body over position, and then went to the front end, and I taught the girls to keep their belly button pressed against their thigh and not lift the belly off of the thigh, but rather to keep the belly button pressed against the thigh to put the blade in the water. So we went from that drill sequence of keeping the belly button pressed against the thigh to just legs only, to make sure that they're pushing the legs down away from the belly button rather than pulling the belly button away from the thigh. That creates a horizontal stroke rather than a lifting stroke, and the lifting stroke is what's causing the digging. It's pushing the legs away from the belly here. I added to that stroke an additional drill, which we talk about, that is just to bury half of the blade. This is a drill where they can look at their blade, and instead of seeing that it's buried into half the shaft, they can actually see the water line. You can bring that to their attention. They work on just burying half of the blade. They want to see half of the, whatever your color blade is, they want to see half of that color out. And typically, they never actually row with it halfway out. That exaggeration is enough for them to row with it just under the surface, and it creates a position for them that is much more horizontal. The handle stays lower on the drive, the blade doesn't dig deep. Good, and from this half bury, let's just lock in just a little bit deeper so you feel a good pressure on the face of the blade. Still a very horizontal stroke. Think about keeping the handle low to keep the blade just under the surface. Handle low on the drive. We worked on skying and digging today. One of the reasons that happens is that we have a drop and then a lift. So we've talked about that. One of the things that you can work on, if you can be in a sweep simulated environment, and you can do it on a duck box, you can do it if you've got a gamut, you have to teach them your athletes how to go out into their arc. And a lot of people do that through wide grip, but wide grip drill is a great release drill to help you come around at the finish. It's a horrible catch drill because with that wide grip, you certainly can still do this, which is a horrible, we all recognize that position. So the first thing that you can do is, if you watch me and I think about just being on an erg right now, and I just think about going straight forward on a straight line as I would on an erg, and I don't think anything about my shoulder angle and how to go around my arc. If I just stay in a position like I'm on the erg, I will immediately go into a position where my inside shoulder is tight and my outside shoulder is dropped down. So as an athlete is out on the water and they're just thinking about rowing on the erg, they're going to keep rowing in a straight forward and back position. Coach is on the water saying, be longer, be longer, be longer. They're going to keep going into that position. They're going to start moving things out of the way to be even longer into that straight line position. Okay, so on the water today we did crossover drill briefly. Crossover drill, outside hand comes over, crosses over the inside. I come into the same position, even if I think about being on the erg, this crossover position immediately presses my shoulders into the right position. I don't have to try to understand what it is like to roll into my arc or come out of my arc, which always brings kids into this kind of odd position. Just go into crossover, let them just come into the same position, even if I think about I'm on the gamut, because we don't want them thinking about coming around and somehow rolling out into their arc. This inside hand end brings you into that position. Inside arm extended, and my shoulder's in the right position. Keep that same feel in the shoulder. And even if I feel like I'm coming straight forward, I've now learned what it feels like to press my inside shoulder down, keep my shoulder up in a natural position. So if you just have them come into their position, they'll see it's wrong. Go into crossover drill, immediately puts their shoulder in the right position. Nice extended arms. Go to regular grip, same shoulder angle.
Digging is when the athlete catches, and instead of just covering the paint and just covering the blade up, they go down. You can see this from the coaching launch. You can see When they come back up, water dripping off the shaft is one thing to look for very easily. Or the other one is simply when the angle is more severe going in than the other oars on that side. This is caused usually by setting it and trying to catch very hard. So instead of trying to go in and catch lightly and quickly and sharply, people go in and slam it down and lift simply way too hard. And the other one is setting it with the body. So instead of putting it in from the shoulder joint and simply lifting like this, they go and you raise your whole body. And as you raise your whole body, there's so much more motion, so much more activity out here that the blade in turn will go very deep. Should be just a light little lift from your shoulders. After the pause, you're fully prepared, you're ready to go. You just lift from the shoulder joint, drop it in. That's a nice one, Casey. Outside shoulder up, Frankie.